That's what they laugh at. Well, that's the way the women laugh in South Africa. You know, oh, hey, Instagram, it's me, T, from the Patterson, taking the train to Tibet. Whoa, wait a second, I gotta land my helicopter. I'm making like I'm going to Langley Air Force Base. Well, it's not Air Force Base. Well, Langley, Virginia, let's put it that way. It's an area in Virginia. Close to like Hampton, close to where I want to be in a month. Well. I knew it was going to come to this sooner or later. I just knew it. I knew it. Oh, brother, what are you indicating? That's another one of the words I really like. Indicating, right? Now, as you will probably guess, well, you won't guess because look, it's a Grand Rising report. I'm sorry, I'm coughing and laughing at the same time. I'm not really coughing, I'm clearing my throat. Oh, wait, it's Blue Light. Hey, shout out Blue Light Brigade. Blue Light Brigade. Oh, Blue Light Brigade. You know, I talk to you all every morning. Just call in the morning. I know it's Grand Rising, but it's the beginning of the day. You're the first. You're my troops. Let me say, when you're in the military, okay, Blue Light Brigade. I realize I haven't really told you about my military background. Your titular head has military experience. Okay, though it's not really killing people, saving people, but that's neither here nor there. Hey, I carry some documents with me. Let me go through my American. This is my American wallet. I got an American wallet. I got a South African wallet. I got a. Do I have a wallet for you? I don't have any idea. Oh, look at that. That's my bank. That's the thing for my bank thing, right? Oh, look at here. What's this? Oh. Sex bill, hospital. Oh, Medicare Part A. Okay, Medicare Part A. What's this? Oh. Medicare Part A and B. Oh, that must mean, and it's red, white, and blue too. That must be an American. See right there, see my American passport. I'm an American African, meaning that I have an American passport. I travel as an American because I'm a traveler. I don't know what there's other people that have melanation, but they call themselves other things because they have whatever reality they have. I'm an American African because I have American, but I have an African mentality. But of course, I was reared in the Mount Haven section of South Bronx, so that makes me a lot. And my lineage goes through, well, at least on my maternal side, Gullah Geechee and Mohawk Indian. So I guess that would make me. Let me tell you something. Okay, and I know this. I went through this before. I gotta tell you again because people don't get this right. When a country starts, when you start the country started. So you can say you come from this country. So you might be not technically, you might be, as we say, indigenous to that country. Because the country started, and when the country started, you was around, or somehow you was around early enough that you can call yourself indigenous to that country. So of course, I'm indigenous to the United States because, my peoples, at least on my mother's side, was there when the country was formed. Because before it was, before 1776, it wasn't America, it was a landmass, right? But because I have an American Indian, Mohawk Indian in me, I'm also autochthonous to that landmass. Now, to be autochthony, or being autochthonous, means you're autochthonous to a land, you see? So it's a geological term. Don't worry about it. It's a geological term. So, for instance, I have in my muti bag here. See my muti bag. I have my birthstone, which is a ruby. Now the ruby was found here in Orville in India. So the ruby is autochthonous. This would be a geological term to India. Now we can't say it's a rough. It's not shined up ruby. So it could really be from here, but somebody could have dropped it along the way. I don't know. All I know is that the ruby comes from here because, and I guess if they did a little research, they'll find out that this ruby is autochthonous to southern India. See that? Or specifically to this area, India. Okay. So that's the fine distinction between, as we say, autochthony and indigenousness. Look, I have an undergraduate degree in English literature. I need to use it every once in a while. Language, English. Okay. What else do I have in here? Oh, look at this. I served in the United States. Well, I served. I'm a veteran. This is my VA. My VA. Oh, look at that. My cute picture. This is an old picture, but you know, they use the same picture all the time. It means I'm a veteran. It says right there. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm a veteran. Oh, brother, you served? Yes, I did. When I'm back in Virginia, they always say, thank you for your service. Little do they, I don't want to get into that right now. And wait a second. Here's what else I have. I have what's called, I have this little thing that, you know, well, I had the real, this is a copy of the original paperwork. This is called, boy, I hope I can read this now. Well, I know what it is. I'll just say, this is a DD-214. It's like it's like a snapshot of my service to the United States of North America, serving in the United States Air Force, right? And it clearly says here, it says my name up there, and it says, damn, I can't read this thing. I need something else here. I need my magnifying glass. Can't read it with my thing. Well, I can tell you anyway. Anyway, it said I served honorably. And it also says I went in service in January, is that 13? No, wait, where is it? Oh, I see. Yeah, January 13th, 1970. And it says I was released from active duty on January. No, that's wrong. Where's it? I don't see that other thing. Oh, here it is. January, does it say 13th or 14th? Well, I can't read that. I think it says January 14th. I don't know. But it clearly says here that I was released from active duty service on January, did it say 12th? I think it says January 12th of 1974. But my service actually didn't well, then you released from service, and then for 2 years, you're sort of like on reserve, you know what I mean? So technically, I was still in the Air Force until 1976. About that time, and then a year after I graduated. Anyway, so he said, well, brother, come on now, why are you getting all bureaucratic? What are you trying to say? It says, well, how did I get into service? Let's start right there. How did I serve the United States Air Force, of all places? Especially when I was highly political, and I knew it at the time of Vietnam, and I knew everything was happening, and I wasn't, well, that's the point. Back then, about a year, they pull a thing called a lottery. They put your birthday in a bin or whatever, have it. Then they pick out if your birthday. Then they order you. If your birthday, you become a number. You know what I mean? So my number was something like, I think it was 115 or 112 or something like that. I think it was 115. So out of 360 slots, if they was going to pull you up for military service, my slot was 115, right? So, you know, so likelihood of me going was was actually good back then. Just telling everybody. But what they didn't tell you, they did this by district, by like some weird district, you know. Now I happen to be in the South Bronx, which means that means nothing to you. But what it means in the lottery is that my number would be 115. But if my number was 516 or whatever. If my number was, say, 300 remember 365. If my number was say 360, I was still going. Why? Because it was in South Bronx, and most of the men were like in jail or had responsibilities or whatever. There's things you can get out of service. Anyway, so I was going. So I knew I was going. But they draw you, and then you have a year. Anyway, so what that meant was that the Army was going to grab me, and I would, so I'm hanging out in Patterson Projects, one day, and 6 weeks they snatched my behind up, sent me to I guess. Oh, I ended up there with the Timothy Fort Dix. This is interesting because I did end up back in McGuire Air Force Base, which is surrounded by Fort Dix. Very interesting. Anyway, and they would train you. They sent me someplace else. I don't know wherever they trained me at. And then they 6 weeks later, from the time they yanked me out of the Patterson Projects, then I'd be in the middle of the jungles of Vietnam, fighting some 13-year-old, that I didn't have a beef with. I knew this, and I'm going like, nah. It's not that I wasn't a fighter because it's South Bronx. I mean, you learn how to fight. Big deal, Well, this fight, they did bang, bang, bang gunfights. Okay, wait. So I said, nah, I don't think I want to be fodder for the United States interest in oil tankers or whatever they would try to beat up on Vietnam for. So then I had a choice. I could go into, say, the Navy. We had to take a test for the Navy. I said, maybe because they're offshore. You know what I mean? They lob bombs and stuff like that. They don't really, like that. But my brother said, oh, hold on a second. I don't think you want to go into the Navy. I said, why not? Well, I'm being dramatic. It's not what he said. That's not what happened. Just saying. Well, why not? Well, because back then, remember, this is 1970, this is 1969, actually. This is 1969. And for some strange reason, well, first of all, you still had, segregation was still segregating. It was just getting over it. I mean, the civil rights thing and the upheavals in the land was just happening in 68, 64, 68, whatever. So we still in this thing. And they still had that, how you say it, forget discrimination. They still had a hatred. I mean, a real hatred, not just a regular hatred, but a hatred for melanated people, black people, in other words, right? So, but what they did, for some strange reason, they recruited a lot of people for the Navy from the South. So them people had the hatred for black people. Who knows why they don't even know. So not a smart move to go into the Navy, even though, you'd be blah, blah, blah. Oh, so now I could go into wait a second, hold on. Oh, but the Navy also have an offshoot. They have the Marines. Oh, you don't want to go to the Marines. Oh, no, because, everybody has their mission. Every branch has their mission. And the Navy and the Marines' mission is to kill them. That's their whole mission. If you're a Marine, the only thing you learn to do, you know how you had the Apocalypse, no, not Apocalypse, no, you had the other movie with Stanley Kubrick film, whatever, where the guy with a gun and the guy, he kills himself, he actually kills a sergeant, drill sergeant. Anyway, the point is, right, you're married to your gun. You go to bed with your gun. You be kissing on your gun means your M16 rifle, whatever it has. So all they know is gun, point, shoot. That's why you don't send Marines or you don't send a soldier into an area to police an area, because they're not trained to police. They're trained to kill. So if ever you're someplace and they say they're sending in the Marines, you have to understand their mission is to kill. Their mission is not to negotiate. None of that stuff, right? So then you say, oh, well, how about the Air Force? Oh, yeah, but what's their mission? Their mission is to keep them flying. Keep them flying. Keep who flying? Keep the pilots flying. What does that mean? That means if you're in the Air Force, you don't have to go into the jungle and shoot. Really? Oh, let me take a test for the Air Force because I don't want to go and be trying to beat up on people. I'd rather keep them flying. And as it happened, when I did go to the Air Force, I became a lab technician, which basically meant not only do I do I just keep flying? But I have to be in an air-conditioned tent if they sent me to Vietnam because I got to do the lab tests, hang with the doctors and stuff like that. I mean, the worst that can happen to me is I didn't know at the time, but I get some Agent Orange and whatever, something like that. But I wasn't like in the army and being a tunnel rat. Well, that's booby traps going on there. No. I wasn't. You see what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. When I'm in Virginia, there's a lot of veterans around, and they always trying to do the service thing. You know, I served whatever in the army. I served maybe. I said, yeah, and we're the best. I said, oh no, don't even try that. You know the Air Force. I said, not only do we got the look. When you're in trouble, you don't be calling for nobody but the Air Force to get your behind out of there. I'm just saying. And they all back down. Woo! Like that. Now, yeah, think about this. Every branch has their special forces. We're not talking about the CIA. We'll get to that in a second. But every has their, you know, like the Army had the Green Beret, right? Famously, I don't know what the Navy had Navy SEALs. Navy SEAls. I'm sorry. Army also has that. Later on, they had the Rangers and whatever have it. And then they have this. Is it the Marines? Whoever, but they have these kind of things. But the Air Force has pararescue. Now you don't hear a lot about pararescue because pararescue, as the name indicates, is not there to go and blow people up and assassinate and whatever have it. That's not what their mission is. See, because remember, everybody has their mission. And let me stop right there. I went out for pararescue, but well, the excuse I was really good at all the tests. And here it goes, talk about stereotype. I could swim, but I wasn't that strong a swimmer. Just to say that, but that's not why I didn't make pararescue because I could have made it easy, but because of my eyes, I didn't have 20/20 vision. You know, they want perfect, whatever you go in there. So that's actually, and plus I had an allergy for some strange reason. I had allergic to grass. I had grass. The point is, pararescue, their mission is to rescue folk. Famously, like if you have, they use it like say you have a forest fire. Well, it's pararescue that would go in there and pull you out, or you have a forest fire, a fight, you know, a firefight someplace. Their mission, pararescue, is to go in and get the soldiers out. But you're trained as a medic, you're trained as a doctor. You're trained to save lives. You see, so even if I was gonna go into a battle, you know, then I would go as a pararescue person. I wouldn't go as these other people. Their mentality is kill. And the reason why I bring all that up is because, now, Blood Brigade, follow me right now. Now I'm going to swerve off. There's some cat. His name is Michael Langley. You can't make this stuff up. Michael Langley. Now, I've known, well, let me put it to him. The American generals, he's a general in the military service, right? Now, well, I knew him as a colonel. I met Daniel Chappie James. We had an audience with what audience? It was a bunch of us like that with General Daniel Chappie James, who was became the first black general of the Air Force. That's not like the Davis people who were the first black generals of the Army, something like that. The Air Force. I met him. I think must have been spring of '73. I don't think it was '72, because for some reason I was at Colorado Springs, Colorado, and that's where the Air Force School is, Air Force Academy, whatever the heck it is, right? And there was some sort of thing happening, and I ended up there. I was on my own, you know, but there was an event. I have no idea where I can't remember where I was. I'm an old guy right now. I can't remember what I was doing in 1973. I'm just saying I was there. And so was he, Daniel Chappie James. He was given a thing. At the time, he was a colonel. And because there was not that many black folks around, he brought us all together and just had an informal conversation with us. He was just talking about stuff, you know what I mean? He talked about his father told him this and but one of the things he said, he said, and I'm telling you, he said this, I heard it with my own ears, because somebody asked him, well, Colonel, what you going to do when you retire? Because, it was the end of his thing. He wasn't, he thought he was going to retire. Everybody thought he was going to, he's a full bird colonel, to ascend to become a general, right? That's really a political thing. Think of it like, for those of you who play football, think of it like you're a football coach. Those are the colonels, right? And then all of a sudden you become a head coach. Now, a head coach means you no longer are with the troops, really. It's almost like a political appointment. You got to do all kinds of stuff now. You can't really be a fighter. You're a talker. You're whatever you are. It's not by the time of General George Washington, or even or any of those people like that, or none of those people like that. MacArthur, forget it. Not about that, right? It's a political appointment. When I say political appointment, you work your way through the ranks, and then people will be looking at you, oh, how can we use this person? Especially this day, how we use that person. And so when you see somebody that appears before a political panel, and they're a general, it just means they knew how to finagle the system to worm their way up to become a general. I'm saying it, I could be wrong, but I'm not. So we say, well, what you going to do when you retire? He said this. He said, I'm going to go to Africa and train Africans how to fly jets and stuff like that. He didn't say the country, but I have a strong suspicion that at the time of things that were happening, I think it was probably Zimbabwe. Because the language and this is Zimbabwe. This is Zimbabwe pre-1980. See, there's Zimbabwe after 1980 and before 1980. I'm not going to say anything else for that. Or I should say, before Grace and after. I'm not going to say anything else about that. Right? Okay. So this is what he said. He was going to go to Africa and train Africans how to fight, how to use fighter planes. I'm telling you. Well, a year after that happened, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, because there's no black generals in the Air Force. They elevated him to a general. That's why you know him as General Chappie James. He's the one that stood down Gaddafi when Gaddafi was flying to some place, and he's standing on the runway with his pistol and stuff like that. Hey, you got to go through me. General Chappie James is a bad man. Now see, okay, but now, in fact, I think he was the last cat. You know how the nuclear football. Well, it used to be that the person that pushed the button was actually the person was the general. General Chappie James was the last one that could actually independently push the nuclear button. Now you got to do the rubber. Okay. So all of these cats that you see in front of congressional, whatever have you, they're just political appointments, right? Now the latest cat that came out the side of his neck, talking about Burkina Faso, and Ibrahim, well, he said Burkina Faso. He said the people of Burkina Faso, they're under Russian rule. I don't know what he was saying some sort. But think about it. His last name is Langley. You can't get more ironic than this, right? But more importantly, he's a general from the Marines. From the Marines. They don't know nothing about diplomacy. They're trained. Oh, wait a second. Hey, we have a grand rising. The sun just came up. We got to do our thing. Just take a deep breath through your nose. Then a sport breath out your mouth. Here we go. One more time. Remember, expand your rib cage. Ready? Welcome to the new day. And speaking about new days, so the United States, they have all kinds of things all over the world. I don't know. There's so many things now. I was in the Military Airlift Command, but since then they got all kinds of commands. And they got the Afro whoever and the South East Wadi. They got stuff all over the place. They got 900,000 bases. United States and presence on every continent, or whatever it is, right? So this cat who's a Marine general. He says, in the answer to one of these old, old senators, hey, Senator, General, what do you think about, this is going to happen, aren't these like tin-pot dictators? They said, yes, sir, you know what's right, and the people, they don't like what's going. I'm sure they don't like what's going. And the head of the AFRICOM, with all of our bases in Africa, which, look, when Barack Obama first came to power, came to fruition, came up the ranks, right? There was one base in Africa in Djibouti. Now there's like, I don't know how many bases, right? And the point is, so this boy, speaking out the side of his neck, that's how we talk in Black America. He's talking about Burkina Faso, don't know nothing about nothing. Really? You sound like, remember when Mr. We Leave No Soldier Behind, the cat from the South Bronx? I'm talking about Colin Powell came from the South Bronx, just to let you know. I know he was a Caribbean guy that came from the South Bronx. Don't matter. Remember he was holding that thing up in front of the UN saying like, in this vial is some stuff that's going to kill everybody. And every black person in every barber have said, that boy lying. I'm telling you. Every black person that knew anything, just that you could feel the vibes. You can't. So when you go up there saying, well, there's the Burkina Faso, right? You know what we're saying? That boy's stupid. He don't know nothing about nothing. We don't even say you lying. Lying be one thing if you knew and then just lied. I'm assuming that you know and you're lying, but you're just stupid. Because it's the modern world. Anybody can just check. You can go online right now and check. That senator that was asking you, he could have he didn't have to ask the question. He could have just checked. So what am I saying? Langley from Langley, oh, guess he's not very close. Langley from whatever. And he got four stars. I know. When I saw the uniform, I said, that boy a Marine. What the hell is a Marine? Marine don't negotiate nothing. What's they doing there? It's a mess. United States of North America, my fellow countrymen, look, I'm not speechless. I'm just saying, look, Blue Light Brigade, I'm going to release you all, just so you know that this is the cat that, and I'm from my duty is to not negotiation, but to saving lives, not saving lives, not spreading lies. That's what look, Blue Light Brigade, what we do is we save lives, because your titular head is a medic, and we don't be spreading no lies. Check y'all later.